tell you about the best part of my day. Basically giving somebody a bag of chips. Yeah, I know it's like not really that significant of a thing, but honestly, you ever in a contemplative mood, you ever, I don't know, reassessing your fucking life, doing all this shit, trying to make sense of everything, or trying to get clarity about who the fuck you are, where you're trying to go. I mean, I don't know, one insight I take from my day is that just giving something to other people is just a fucking short circuit to, it's basically like it's basically just a fucking way to get out of your own head, get out of your own shit. So I don't know, I've been trying to ask myself what it is I even have to give, you know? What do I even have that's worth giving to somebody else? And honestly, I don't know. Like, that in itself is probably a meditation, you know? And definitely makes me think that I need to get my fucking shit together for the sake of everyone else in whoever I come in contact with in life. Like, the more we have to offer, the more that we make our life worth something, you know? I've honestly been trying to figure out, like, what I want all day. You know? Like, at the core, what I really want the most. Not just all the extra, you know, external things on top, but what is like the core, what is the core thing that I really want? Because clarity on that is going to make day-to-day life so much more simple and so much more easy. Yeah, honestly, somebody even asked me that question, what do I want, like when I was at this music festival a few years ago. And like, at the time, I just told him I want sex, you know? Not with him, but just, you know, girls. And yeah, I mean, it was pretty shallow of an answer, but it was also the truth at the time, you know what I mean? And the guy thought it was pretty shallow, but I don't know, we have to look at really what we want underneath everything, you know? What is even, why do I even want sex, or why did I want sex so badly? You know, it's still a major theme, whatever, in my life now that I'm trying to get to the bottom of. But when I try and look into it, you know, I think it's this satisfaction, or it's even inner peace, you know? It's you know, it's this desire to feel loved, you know, to feel, you know, basically ultimately satisfied, not just satisfied, but to feel ultimate satisfaction, to feel ultimately at peace. But the reality is that none of the escapades ever led to that, you know. It never got me there. The problem is it gets you there, but it's only for a temporary duration, and then, you know, the effects fade off, and then you got to go for it again, or you got to look to something else, like your career, or, you know, some sort of, you know, more difficult or more long-term challenge. But the truth of it is, at the core of that desire is something non-material. It's that sense, it's just that inner peace, right? It's that sense of completion, or connection, or love. And you know, something I've heard people say is you have to give it to get it. You have to kind of enter the vibration of it, so to speak, right? Like, you have to become it to receive it. So then I guess that leads to the question of, how do you give love, right? How do you give love? How do you give peace to somebody, or to the world, or to yourself, you know? Getting older and getting further and further away from that kind of childhood essence of that freedom of being who you are without any, mental cobwebs screwing you up. It can all of a sudden feel super complicated to try and just love freely, or just to exist naturally. Today, for example, one thing I was doing was just listening, just listening to the sounds of nature, just walking and just not talking, basically, just listening. And that just had the great effect of slowing down my mind and all of its thoughts, because it's such a selfish device, this mind, it's always thinking about me, and my plans and what I want to do and my day and this and that. It's so just limited and focused on the self. So just that act of just listening to the sound around me, getting myself away from people for a while, kind of helps slow that down. Doing whatever spiritual practices that we have from, for me, I have my guru who's given me spiritual practices. If you have a coach or whoever that you admire, that you look up to, or whatever saint or whatever, being faithful to those practices is one way, but an important way. Really just being with yourself, and just trying to listen and not plan and fantasize and do all this stuff, all this thinking, but just listen. And then lastly, just give. Try and attempt to give what it is you're looking for. Just at least attempt, right? At least we can try to give it. It's probably not going to be perfect for a while, but I think it's probably better than nothing, right? You can give just a little bit of love. You can give somebody a little bit of peace somehow, by at least just listening to them, and not projecting your own whole thing onto somebody else.